by this problem.
According to the Ministry of Health, the biggest number of HIV infections are found in the urban areas, while the majority of people living with the virus are of the female gender. According to the State Minister for Health in charge of general duties, Handifa Kawoya, government is fighting hard to see to it that the number of infections among people are reduced.
We have put in place a number of programs, all intended to educate the public, to ensure that we disseminate information to the public about HIV/AIDS prevention, care and treatment. We have put in place many flexible management and treatment which are all intended for service delivery to our people.
In December 2020, UNAIDS released a new set of ambitious targets calling for 95% of all people living with HIV to know their HIV status.
Welcome back from that story, and here we take you to the president's story, where the NRM presidential candidate was said to engage in a youth-focused podcast this evening. 30th November counterpart programming, the much anticipated televised national debate hosted by NTV Uganda. The president, campaigning for the upcoming 2026 general election, will bypass the direct confrontation with opposition figures to sit for the unstoppable Gen Z presidential conversation hosted by the Sevo CAF podcast from his rural residence in Rwachitura. Let's get the story on this matter.
The difference between the other Sevo Cafe podcast editions that have been happening and this one is that Sevo himself is in the building. Now, when we dive into what Sevo Cafe is, it is actually a podcast which has given young people the opportunity to share constructive information with our leaders of the National Resistance Movement Party, so that we can be able to talk about what has already been achieved, how we can still protect it, and to nurture it for the future, because we are the leaders of tomorrow.
Exactly, that is protecting our gains. We are dreamers, wealth creators, hustlers, very innovative people. We are here to change the game. We are the biggest entrepreneurs that the world will ever have. And above all, we are Ugandans. Your Excellency, back then we used to say, bye, Museveni. Now we say, Museveni, clock it.
Clock it.
On the panelists we have today, the lady you are seeing there is called Atim Olaya, and she is a very brilliant student. Next to her, we have a very big dreamer, Sandra Lian Nabichi, a hustler and a business lady. Your Excellency, the gentleman you are seeing, the king among those queens, is Odokonyero Gerard, a software engineer.
Clock it.
Yeah.
300 years. You need to know that the economy has 4 sectors. That is where you can find wealth and jobs. The 4 sectors are commercial agriculture. If you produce crops for money as well as for food, you will create wealth and get money and create jobs. Commercial agriculture is of maybe 3 types. You can have the small scale, the 4 acres model, because I had people asking about it. 4 acres model is for the small scale, the ones with small piece of land. And these are the ones we are saying, since you have got a small piece of land, select high value enterprises, and those should be the ones you do in your small area, and you will get good income. And I have got examples of that. I've been showing them on the screens. People earning billions of shillings. Like if you can have time and visit Joseph Ijara of Serere, of Asangwa, of Kamuli, you'll see people earning billions from 2 acres or 2 acres of land. Then you can have medium large scale agriculture, commercial agriculture, because this is where your people Africans were behind, because they were producing, but producing only for consumption, for home consumption, or only working for the stomach, what they call subsistence. This is the one with the campaign. We want everybody to work for the stomach, but also for the pocket. That's why we say commercial agriculture. So small scale commercial agriculture, 4 acres or less, medium scale, and large scale. There, because you see the country needs all these products. For the small scale, we have recommended 9 enterprises. We have recommended coffee, fruits, small, what do you call, zero grazing dairy cattle, food crop, piggery, poultry for eggs, fish farming, cocoa, and palm oil. There, even if you have got 1 acre, you will get good money. But then your country needs other crops, needs other products.
Welcome back from Rajtura, and here I take you to Electoral Commission, whereby the chairman for Electoral Commission, Justice Simon Byabakama, has condemned the violent scenes that broke out during Friday's National Unity Platform in Iganga, describing the death of one person as very unfortunate and unavoidable. In conjunction, the chairman for Electoral Commission, EC, Justice Simon Byabakama, yesterday declared that the 2026 general elections would be immune to vote rigging and ballot stuffing following the arrival of the final consignment of biometric voter verification kits at Entebbe International Airport. We have the story on this matter.
The supervision of the sub-county supervisors and the district election administrators to make sure that every voter gets his or her voter location slip. The next item I would like to talk about is the nomination of candidates. Following the conclusion of the nominations, a total of 83,597 candidates were nominated to contest for the 45,505 elective positions, right from president to sub-county councillor. Interest groups kati kawefubo waliwo kati ne twamaliza na okusunsulamu abagenda kwesimbawo mu bifo byonna kuvira ddala ku president kutuukira ddala mu bifo bya gavumenti z'ebitundu. Ku bye tukoze ebivuddemu kwegamba nti bye bino districts ze tulina kati mu Uganda ziri 146, amasaza 312, constituencies za parliament 353, amagombolola oba towns oba municipal divisions 2,191, emiruka 1,717, ebyalo 7,214, polling stations 5,739, abannayuganda abalonzi abali ku nkala z'abalonzi bali obukadde 21 ne 6,891. Kwabo abalonzi bonna abakyala be basinga obungi. Abakyala bali bukadde 11 3,729. Abaami bali obukadde 10 3,362. Twagala okunga abalonzi bonna obakubiriza nti ku lunaku lw'okulonda muveeyo mwenna mukozesa obuyinza bwamwe bwabaweebwa mu ssemateeka. But the students, we have a number of students who are voters, and I think these students also should make an informed choice of who they should vote for come polling. And mind you, you remember polling takes place during holidays. January 15th, I think all except maybe a few universities, but most of the students will be at home during holidays, so they will also participate in elections. So I think the students also deserve to know who is the credible candidate, who is the right candidate, whom we should vote for, but when we exercise our constitutional right.
Those are stories making the news in the side of Electoral Commission. Still, on the politics side, opposition candidates face off in Uganda's 2026 presidential debate. NTV Uganda hosted a lively debate on Sunday evening, live from 8 p.m. on NTV and Spark TV, covering economy, jobs, health, education and security, infrastructure, ICT, finance and development. Participants included Bobby Wine of the National Unity Platform, Mugisha Muntu of the Alliance for National Transformation, Nathan Nandala Mafabi of the Forum for Democratic Change, Joseph Eliton Mabirizi of the Conservative Party. We have the story on this matter.
1, 2, check. It's a pleasure to have you. Good evening.
It's a pleasure for me to be here. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, our dear moderators. Good evening, fellow candidates.
All right. We also do have Honorable Nandala Mafabi. Honorable, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. I look forward for a lively debate.
It's a pleasure to be in your company. A round of applause for him. We also do have Mr. Joseph Mabirizi. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening to all of us.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Ka pressure keko batukendezeko.
I don't have any pressure.
Yeah. That's wonderful to hear. If they're confident, then Uganda should be confident about the next hours to come. And finally, we also do have candidate Frank Bulira. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, dear Ugandan. Good evening, dear Ugandans, and thank you so much, NTV, for this arrangement.
And thank you so much for accepting our invitation and coming through. These are the 5 candidates, 1 state, and of course, 1 country that is watching. Tonight is about ideas, tonight is about vision, as well as leadership, unfiltered and compromising, as well as decisive.
Gentlemen, if you may, some hygiene issues. When you're done speaking through your microphone, kindly switch it off, otherwise we will have feedback. And moving on, the focus tonight is on issues that are shaping the future of this nation. We have infrastructure, ICT and innovation, finance and national development.
Filmora 15 understands your intent, dissolving the space between thought and action.
Not forgetting health.
And as Julie introduced, our 5 candidates are ready and they have shown us that they're ready to go. There are 5 voices. However, you and I make up 1 electorate. Every answer tonight is going to be counting and every commitment is going to be measured.
Joining us tonight on stage, we have Frank Bulira. We're going in alphabetical order from your surname on my extreme right. Mr. Frank Bulira, thank you. Mr. Candidate Joseph Mabirizi, thank you. Candidate Nathan Nandala Mafabi. In the middle, we have candidate Robert Jagulanyi, and last but not least, on my extreme left, candidate Mugisha Muntu.
Based on months and months of public engagement, thousands of Ugandans having submitted their priorities and questions. This is through the community forums, digital platforms, and of course the regional outreach. However, the final selections, the structure, and the sequencing for tonight were made independently of the debate team. So as per the debate rules, neither the candidate that you see on the podium this evening nor anyone on the team have reviewed or influenced these questions.
Without any further ado, let us begin. And this is going to be very brief. In 4 minutes, tell Ugandans why you're the best candidate and to take this big job of being the president, not just having the fancy office. While you're at it, also tell Ugandans what the biggest problem is with the country. Let me start with you, Mr. Bulira. 4 minutes.
Thank you so much. Dear Ugandans, my name is Bulira Frank Kabinga Salongo. I'm the presidential flag bearer for the Revolutionary People's Party, a party which merged with the Uganda Federal Democratic Organization, which was led by the late Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi. I'm here in the footsteps of the late fighter Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi, in the footsteps of our forefathers who fought for federalism, the Nkwangas, the Andrew Takome Kairas, the Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogereres, the retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besiges. I'm in this race not just to contest ceremoniously. I'm here to contest and deliver our opposition to State House. It has been a process of over 4 decades, and I think this coming election is going to close up each and everything. This is the time that we need to shape our country. There are only 2 big problems of our country, Uganda. Number 1 problem is Mr. Museveni. The second problem is the system of governance. That is why, as the Revolutionary People's Party, we are looking at federalism. Federalism is the way to go, and it is our core. The RPP, we believe that even if Mr. Museveni goes and we have another president and we don't change the system of governance, we shall remain in the same problems. In my first 100 days, that's why I pledge that Uganda is going to go federalist.
Thank you very much. Each candidate being reminded you have 4 minutes for your introduction. And now we move to the second candidate, Candidate Joseph Mabirizi.
Good evening once again. My name is Elton Joseph Mabirizi Salongo from Conservative Party, the party which has outlived generations. In CP, we have the uniqueness that we stand for. Number 1, it's about the governance, which requires fabrication to come up with something new which can fit in the generation we live in.
Forward investing in the
Welcome back from the political side. Here I take you to ICC, where it is working together to arrest Joseph Kony. The Office of the Prosecutor at the International Criminal Court, ICC, says it's working closely with international partners to secure the long-awaited arrest of fugitive Ugandan warlord and Lord's Resistance Army LRA leader Joseph Kony. We have the story on this bulletin.
Judges at the International Criminal Court have confirmed war crimes and crimes against humanity charges against Ugandan rebel leader Joseph Kony, paving the way for a trial, though only if he is captured. A 3-judge panel ruled that there are substantial grounds to believe Kony is responsible for 29 counts of atrocities, including murder, rape, and sexual enslavement, committed while he led the Lord's Resistance Army, the militia that terrorized northern Uganda and later part of Central Africa. Deputy Prosecutor Mam Ndiaye said the LRA's campaign left deep scars on communities, noting that the social and cultural fabric of northern Uganda has been torn apart and is still struggling to rebuild itself. The hearing marks the first time the ICC held proceedings in absentia. Kony rose to global notoriety in 2012 after an online campaign highlighting his crimes went viral, yet despite years of international pursuit, he remains at large.
With that, the news from coincide with ICC and marks the end of the local news. And here we take a short break. We return with the international news.
In better.
What up? Hey, yo.
It's the Metropolitan Drive.
Of course, the Metropolitan Drive. From 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Man to Fighter. With Mr. President, Omofene Plan, Kuku Zapanga. Listen to the hot music.
I'm not afraid to take a step. People everywhere. Now everybody put your hands in the air. It's cool.
Alive. News in the evening drive.
I want to thank the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. I want to thank the Attorney General, Attorney Speaker, Senior Counsel Kriwa Chiwanuka. We've been working together in this bill. And I want to invite colleagues, please read and understand this bill.
The motion has been moved by the Minister.
Nominated me to run for president. He was arrested. That's the crime he committed, supporting me for president. And he spent 7 months in prison. He's now out of prison, although, and I must warn you, ladies and gentlemen, that the music we are about to perform to you is criminalized back home.
Remember, we do this very international, from Monday to Friday, with the DJ One Ezra. This is the only one drive that can make you go to work, wake up, go home. We give you vibes going back home every single hour. And evening drive, the evening drive, some music and some song by DJ Ezra, the mix volume DJ.
Waikachamba ukapapapuraga wobde
Muzayiroziyo ebyenfuna engeri gye bitabuseemu ensangi zino si kirungi kuwulwa ssente obulwe n'emmere mu maka ng'endamba misango kwegulira kawunga.
Misango biba luwaabo era basangibwawa.
Misango Grain Millers basangibwa Bukoto Kisaasi Road opposite St. Peter's Church. Bano be balina akawunga ak'omulembe akateekebwateekebwa abakugu eri omukulu omuto n'omukadde ate nga kalimu n'ekirungo ekyongera amaanyi mu mubiri gwo. Kano kali mu bipimo byonna bye walyetaaze. Ow'essomero omusuubuzi nawe kamukamu bakwaniriza. Ate nawe omulunzi w'enkoko ekibuuzo kyo n'essaala zo baabyanukudde anti bakolera emmere y'enkoko ey'omulembe. Enkoko zo ne zikula mu wiiki 2 abaguzi ne batandika okwetala. Ate nga woogula mu bungi ebyentambula baabitereeza anti ebintu bwe bakutambuliza paka mu luggya lwo. Gw'abeetaaze bakubire ku ssimu 772 42 4920 oba 772 42 3939. Misango Grain Millers be bannantamegwa mu mmere y'enkoko kw'ossa n'akawunga ak'omulembe. Beekwate tojja kwejjusa.
Let's go. Turn your radio volume to its maximum level as you listen to Radio York.
Welcome back from the commercial break, and here we return with international news, and we take you to Southeast Asia, where hundreds are missing in Southeast. Some of the heaviest rain in decades have swept the region. Monsoon rain exhibited by tropical storms has caused some of the worst flooding in years, with millions affected in Indonesia, Malaysia and Thailand. We have the story that is making the news.
The rains have finally stopped, but they've left a landscape of catastrophic devastation. This is Indonesia's Aceh province, where whole villages are underwater. And this submerged scene stretches for miles. From the air, rescuers are trying to reach the worst affected areas and deliver vital supplies. The conditions are challenging. Search teams are out, but access is dangerous and difficult. This bridge brought down. a cut-off community now using makeshift pulleys for food and aid. Across the region, the death toll continues to rise. On the island of Sumatra, body bags are lined up, casualties awaiting identification. For families missing loved ones, it is a heartbreaking wait.
We heard on Thursday night that a flood had struck and our parents' house was destroyed. We tried to get to the location but couldn't because the road was blocked and inaccessible. We could only reach the site on Friday.
The extreme rains caused landslides, with neighbourhoods buried beneath deep mud. Elsewhere, rescue teams wade through deep waters to bring people to safety. For others, though, it is too late. In Sri Lanka, yet more extreme weather. A cyclone caused flooding, washing away homes and roads.
Welcome back from Southeast Asia. Here I take you to Ukraine, where a Ukrainian naval drones hit 2 oil tankers from Russia's so-called Shadow Fleet as they traveled through the Black Sea. Ukrainian officials have said. We'll take the story on this matter.
Drawn up on Russia's terms is a plan for shameful capitulation. The Europeans, however, attempted to develop a 24-point plan for an honourable surrender. But both plans are plans for surrender, and all of these plans being discussed share one crucial element: the release of war criminals from punishment, meaning that no one will be held accountable for anything. Dickey emphasized, according to him, this means Ukraine has little hope for international justice. In that case, it turns out that the FP1 or Flamingo is a much better instrument of justice than the Hague International Criminal Court, he added, referring to the drone strikes against Kadyrov's Akhmat unit in Chechnya. According to him, Kadyrov's men have not been seen in combat in Ukraine, but they have proven themselves in punitive actions in Russian-occupied Ukrainian lands, and they were also the...
Reid Hoffman.
From Ukraine, I take you straight to Istanbul, where Pope Leo XIV has visited Istanbul's Sultan Ahmed Mosque, widely known as the Blue Mosque, in his first visit to a Muslim place of worship since he took up the papacy in May. The pontiff was seen bowing as he entered the building, but it is reported he did not pray at the mosque as his two presiders had done. We have the story on this matter.
Visit to a place of Muslim worship following in the footsteps of his predecessors. Chris Livesay reports now from Istanbul.
The famed Blue Mosque, iconic to Istanbul and to Islam worldwide. And this morning, it welcomed the leader of the world's 1.5 billion Catholics on a trip centered on peace and unity across faiths and nations. A day earlier, the Pope joined hands with the leader of the Orthodox faith and other Christian denominations.
We are all invited to overcome the scandal of the divisions that unfortunately still exist, to nurture the desire for unity for which the Lord Jesus prayed and gave his life.
The setting, the ruins of Nicaea, where 1,700 years ago, Christians established core tenets of the faith, including a belief in the Holy Trinity.
Threats to their very dignity.
His message, not in Italian, as popes before him, but in his native English, a global language, and one reason many suspect the Chicago native was elected as pope, to reach a global audience. But there was a lighter tone flying to Turkey a day earlier on this most American of holidays.
Happy Thanksgiving.
As some journalists gave him pumpkin pies, I gave him a treasured heirloom on behalf of my own family from Chicago. A baseball bat that once belonged to legendary White Sox Hall of Famer Nellie Fox. At 30,000 feet, amid the roar of the Papal plane engines, he joked, "How did you get it past security?"
Welcome back from the Istanbul, and here I take you to Nigeria, where many of the parents whose children were abducted 10 days ago from a boarding school in Nigeria are terrified. They do not want to talk to the authorities or journalists in case of reprisals from the kidnappers. In connection with the same, the Nigerian government say jihadist group are the backbones of this war in Nigeria. We take the story on this bulletin.
The President of Nigeria has ordered the recruitment of an extra 30,000 police. The move comes as more than 50 of the 315 teachers and students abducted by gunmen from a Catholic boarding school on Friday have escaped. A major search continues for the others taken from St Mary's School in Papiri in the northwest of the country. Medina Mashanu is one of the first journalists to reach the scene of the kidnappings and to speak to parents who wish to remain anonymous.
Standing in the dormitory room where his son was sleeping on Friday night when he was abducted, this father didn't want to be identified but described what he saw.
They were being trafficked on foot the way shepherds control their herds. The gunmen were on bikes while controlling the girls.
The students aged 6 to 18 and their teachers were taken by an armed gang that stormed the Catholic St Mary's boarding school.
I'm sad. My whole life is filled with sadness. He's my only son. He's my firstborn. Please help us.
The anger and frustration with the authorities over their inability to prevent kidnappings like this is clear.
So everybody is keeping quiet. There is nothing the community is doing in regards to this issue. We are feeling bad. We want the government to come quickly and rescue these children.
Shattered glasses, flip-flops and uniforms. These are the remnants of this room of 16 where students were forcefully dragged out by unknown gunmen in the middle of the night.
The kidnapping came as President Trump warned of possible action over what he called the persecution of Christians by radical militants in Nigeria. But Nigerian authorities say Muslims in the country have been just as affected by the abductions.
As we return from Nigeria, I take you to South Africa that makes our international news, where the daughter of former South African President Jacob Zuma has resigned as an MP following allegations that she tricked 17 men to fight for Russia as mercenaries in Ukraine. Duduzel Zuma Sabdal, who became a member of parliament for the main opposition party, Umkhonto Wesizwe MK last year, has said in an affidavit that she thought the men were going to Russia for lawful training. We have the story on this matter.
Recruiting men to join the Russian mercenaries in the Ukraine war. Just last week, the police said that they were investigating allegations that Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, a lawmaker in her father's MK party, had lured about 17 South African men to fight in the Ukraine war on behalf of Russian mercenaries without their knowledge or consent. The presidency said in early November that it had been asked to bring home the 17 men who were allegedly trapped in Donbas after they had been lured there under the pretext of lucrative employment contracts. According to reports in South African media, the men were allegedly sent to Russia for security training by the opposition MK party, which is headed by Jacob Zuma. He had served as South Africa's president between 2009 and 2018, and the allegations against her were made by one of her half-sisters in an affidavit asking for a formal investigation. The police have said that the case had been handed to a special unit that investigates crimes against the state to determine the charges. Now, Zuma Sambudla is on trial on separate charges of inciting the 2021 riots that left more than 350 people dead, to which she has not pleaded guilty. And our correspondent, Calden Ong, who has been tracking the story very closely for us and has sent us this report from Johannesburg in South Africa. Listen in.
Jacob Zuma's daughter, Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, has resigned from the parliament as well as the MK party. This follows after Hawk's investigations into whether Zuma Sambudla lured 18 men, mainly South African, overseas to fight in Russia's war against Ukraine. MK party has distanced itself from the allegations, while the Democratic Alliance has laid criminal charges alleging Zuma Sambudla played a central role in recruiting and trafficking young South African men. The scandal has triggered a wider official response. President Cyril Ramaphosa has condemned the exploitation of vulnerable South Africans and ordered a government investigation. Meanwhile, on Monday, Sambutla submitted a sworn affidavit to the police declaring that she was not the mastermind behind the so-called mercenary recruitment program to Russia, but rather describes herself as blindsided, manipulated, and a victim of deception, misrepresentation, and manipulation.
With that makes the end of the international news, and here we go straight to the sports news. With the sports news, we shall begin with the local sports news here in Uganda, and we begin with Crested Cranes midfielder Fiona Nabulime, who has made history, becoming the fourth Ugandan to compete in the CAF Women's Champions League final tournament. The former Kawempe Muslim Ladies FC star featured for Egyptian club FC Massa, joining an elite group of Ugandans that includes Joan Nabire, Vihiga Queens 2021, and the duo of Shajia Nanchia and Aisha Nantongo FC Massa 2024. Still in the more sports local news, Mbarara City shared the spoils with BLU in the Uganda Premier League encounter at Kacheka Stadium on Saturday. Jimmy Ndabila's effort was palmed away by goalkeeper Joel Mutakubwa, who was caught off his line. Remember, Mbarara City managed to go both 0-0 with BLU. And still more in the local sports, we go to SC Villa, where SC Villa managed to go with 1 against Vipers with 0. SC Villa secured a 1-0 victory against Vipers SC in the Uganda Premier League at Mutesa 2 Stadium, Wankulukuku, on Saturday. Charles Lwanga's first half strike made the difference, earning Villa a maximum points. Lwanga scored in the 49th minute, capitalizing on a brilliant delivery from Patrick Akande, who allowed him to find the back of the net with ease. And still in more local sports news, here in Morocco against Uganda, Morocco managed to go with 5-0 against Uganda, and the Uganda under-17 national team, the Cubs, suffered a heavy 5-0 defeat to Morocco in their AFCON under-17 match at El Bach Stadium, Mohammedia. Alice Balakomota brace, Zaid Baha Abdallah brace. With this makes the local sports news here in Uganda. And straight we go to international sports news, where Charles suffered a huge first half blow in their Premier League clash against Arsenal on reckless challenges. In a face start to the game that saw 5 yellow cards handed out in the first 5 minutes to go. And here we take as we go into sports news, Lucas Paquete has taken a bizarre sweep at the Football Association and accused them of lack of psychological support when he was accused of sport fixing with the West Ham. And lastly, in the sports news, I take you to yesterday's results, where Crystal Palace play in the Premier League. Crystal Palace played with Man United, and Man United managed to beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Whereas with Aston Villa versus Wolves, Aston Villa managed to go with 1-0 against Wolves. And still in the Premier League, Nottingham Forest managed to go with a 0 against Brighton 2. And West Ham managed to go with 1 against Liverpool with 2. West Ham managed to go with none and Liverpool 2 goals, whereas with Chelsea managed to score a draw 1-1 against Arsenal. And when we go to table standings, Arsenal is in the first position with matches played 13 and goals 25, while points to 30 points. And Manchester City in the second position with 13 matches played and 27 goals, making 25 points. Whereas Chelsea in the third position with 13 and goals 24 points. And whereas in the fourth position, Aston Villa with 13 matches played, 16 goals, making point 24. Whereas in the fifth position with Brighton with 13 matches played, goals 21 and making it 22 points. With this, as we conclude, we go to the top scorers, where that's Erling Haaland is having 14 goals, 1 assist. Thiago with 11 points, assists 0, and Mateta with 7 goals, making it a 0 assist. With this makes our news for today. I've been Wandera Brian for the best of the best. As we make our news, we take the announcements and the greetings to our lovely Bishop, Tom Katagera, who is our Bishop here at the Discipleship Ministries here at Bukoto. We make the news a very vibrant for the today. We meet tomorrow, same time, same hour.